All right. Well, we are live with another edition of the HSL Let's Go podcast, number 151. We are fresh off of what was, I consider to be, probably the best event HSL has thrown so far. Obviously, we had a lot of good ones. The Twillory tournament last year. The Cheese Store event was amazing, but last night in the Twillory Store was absolutely night for the ages in the HSL, and for many reasons. A, for the camaraderie, for the community, but also B, because we have a big tournament in the softball league to play for, and a lot went on last night. A lot of different um, moves and undersells and oversells and steals like candy from a candy shop. Anyways, we got Primetime Pollan, we got King Konig, we have the Sheriff, three of the elites here in the pitching world, in the Jewish world. Forget about HSL on the podcast, and again, the Sheriff will take us away with another this time recap. Finally, we're here for a recap. Unbelievable how fast time flies for the Twillory tournament. Go ahead, Yossi.
Yeah, thanks, Avi. I think overall, I think everyone agrees last night was a massive success. Shout out to the Walls crew, Tobia Blisco, and David Gottlieb for finishing a half a bottle of tequila and making his presence known, slurring his words around the table and begging captains to take shots with him. So, all in all, it was a great night. I think this is could arguably be Avi one of our favorite podcasts because we get to dissect on who was overpaid, who was underpaid,
Yeah.
and who are the big winners and losers, and how did the team shake out. So, I guess the first and most obvious question is to start at Avi, and I'll ask this to Steve and then Yehuda. Avi, you went for $45, which Avi ranked himself projected to go for $71. So, Steve, was Avi an overpay, an underpay, or just about right?
Considering where other pitchers went, I think he went just about right. He's a decent hitter. He's not going to obviously overpower you, but he can get on base against most pitchers. I personally don't have a problem with him, but some guys have issues with him. So for a good singles hitter, and he's a pitcher, he throws strikes. The question is, Avi's most success has been when he has an incredible defense behind him to bail him out. Now, all of a sudden, a lot of those hard hit balls, have Rokach and Zinn, playing the circus behind him. All of a sudden, now he's got to test his defense. So, listen, Matt out there is gonna have a lot of fun. He's usually not playing with pitchers that give up hard hit balls to left and left center. So now Avi's gonna give some time to run around out there. So it should be interesting.
So, Steve, you say he went for about his value. Yehuda, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Just one. I think he went for about where I expected him to go. I think a lot of it when it comes down to the players, you hear this idea, and again, for me at least as a theme, overpay, underpay. If you want a guy and you're not grossly out of range, I think you go get him. I think Avi thinking himself as you know, a combination of Ted Williams and Satchel Paige is interesting. But if you come back and stay in the real world with us over here, I think Avi is a phenomenal steady contact hitter. He is certainly, to me, he's right on the border of the top pitchers and let's say one step below. I do hear Steve's point about not playing with a top team, but what, Steve, a lot could be said about all of us that way. I pitched with a really good team this year defensively. You always, this year with the Lobos were fantastic defensively. And Yossi Kaufman also pitches with a very good team. So I think that'll go across the board. The thing with Avi is I do think that his hitting, he's always been good, his hitting has really, really picked up. So I would not call him an overpay, an underpay. I think he really went when I set them up before. I thought the pitchers were going to come down a little bit, even more than they were. I thought another $7 to $8, and I thought Avi would go right in that range. Now, whether he went should be more or less than a Saf or Dan Braun or Sandy Berger, that's preference. But if they're all within $10 of each other, I think it makes sense.
Okay, that's fair. And look, the trades are live till Thursday. Avi may or may not be traded. We don't know. Also, Avi's
I'm
team
checking
has
live here on the
arguably
podcast if Matt Rosenberg responded to me. I messaged Matt Rosenberg. You're about to witness the best pitcher you've ever played for in your life.
and
Right.
blue checks, no response.
Well,
And he's
Great start.
hoping that he just ended up on Pollan or Kaufman's team.
shout out to
Yeah.
Tax Relief Pro, our sponsor. Thank you, Matthew Rosenberg, a good friend of mine, sponsoring our team. But anyway, so if he responds during the podcast, I'll let you know how he responds.
Right. Another good little tip? He probably doesn't want you showing it to everybody watching the podcast. Just a tip.
Yeah, I
Pro
mean,
tip.
have that option in WhatsApp where you have like delete and report it spam. I wonder like when Matt hits that.
I feel like Rosenberg's a big
So
fan of my content. When I was
I,
very quickly when I was doing tier 2 highlights, I hear Shelby Rosenberg, the legend. We call him Matt's brother on the baseball field. And he does that. I hear him telling guys on his team they're talking about Matt Rosenberg, and I hear him telling guys, yeah, it's like guys, you got to watch these videos that Adolin posts on the status about Matt. Like, you got to see this. You got to see this. So I know the Rosenberg are definitely in tune with the WhatsApp.
all right. Well, moving on. Obviously, as Avi has indicated, Matt Rosenberg's on the trading block for. If
Yeah,
there's
Yossi.
enough value.
By the way, Yossi, we did lose Steve, but are you doing a separate podcast right after for Avi and Matt? Because I think we should try to stay. You have a lot to
Yeah,
cover
the
here.
only problem, it's probably going to be 2.5 hours where it's Avi and Matt. And when we say Avi and Matt, Matt actually doesn't show up. And it's just Avi. But there's like a doll that says Matt Rosenberg on it. And it's just Avi talking for 2.5 hours. Okay, moving on to keep the viewers here engaged. Some of the surprises. So let's start with this. I took all the price of everyone's dollar value, and then I took Avi's rankings, and I wanted to see how far off some of Avi's rankings were with the dollar value. So first off, the second highest position player that went in this draft, other than the 3 pitchers, was Moshe Zin at $70. And the question I have, I'll start with you, Yehuda. Is that an overpay when Jack Ross went for 69, Archie 68, David Bloom 63, and Hillel Rokach at 51? And I got to throw in Hillel Schwartz at 50. Is Zinn an overpay at 70?
Obviously, it's in retrospect, and when I think Moshe Zin got nominated very early, so I don't know that the market was really. So I think he might have been the first position player done. I thought Pollan went first, and then Zinn may have gone right after. I don't recall exactly, but
I think I went.
Yossi went first.
Okay, whatever it was fairly quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was the third player nominated.
I do think in retrospect it is an overpay, because I do think if somebody could have had a Rokach or a Bloom for in Rokach's case $15 less, I do think you could use that money elsewhere. No question that Zinn is top 10 player in the league and is phenomenal, but it ends up in retrospect, I think, being an overpay.
Steve?
So I had this thought last night. When you're going through the draft, when the beginning of the draft guys are going for $60 to $80, middle of the draft guys are going for the 40s and 50s, later on guys are going for 20s. So there's like guys at the end of the draft going for 15, 20, 25 that in retrospect, obviously they're underpays, but you also have to look at it at the time of when they went, because there's inflation when you have all this, when you have draft capital, right? So like $70 when you have $200 to spend is different than $70 when everyone has $100 left to spend. With that being said, I think any position player, forget about whether it's Zinn or Jack Ross, other than Matt, and the reason why Matt is because, first off, what he does in the outfield, and B, because of his bat in that field, it's just such a weapon that you can't overpay for that. So, I was telling Yehuda last night, like, if you have Matt on your team, it's like you're starting the game with like a 2-3-0 lead. He's the only one that does that. So as good as Zinn is, and he's clearly a top 5 player, right? I mean, the guy could play. He's a phenomenal shortstop. He's an excellent hitter. If somehow you got another shortstop, he could play the outfield at an elite level. But I think any position player, based on the talent pool that we had there last night, it's paying a lot, and too much. And considering, listen, Rokach went for 55 and Bloom 63.
Yago Sabo went for 50. Yossi Rosenberg.
We'll get to him. We'll get to Sabo.
It's on the list. Okay.
So I think,
what I'm hearing from
it's an overpay, but not because of who Zinn is. Zinn's a great player. It's just in terms of the amount of talent that you had last night. You could have assembled a team with $30 to $40 guys and had a great team with great players and not be that much different than having a $70 shortstop or whatnot.
So
Yossi, before he answers, just to follow up on that, I guess the question really comes down to is if you took Zinn or you take Zinn and a $1 or $2 player, I hate saying it that way, but like that, or would you prefer to have 2 guys that you could pick up in the 35 range, and looking who those people are, or even 3, somebody in the mid 30s and 2 in the 20s, like a Sammy Miller and a Matt Siegel, and I don't know, you put those guys together, you have a very nice team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to to the depth of the draft, because you got guys that went for under $15-20 that are pretty good players. I mean, you know, we talked about Eric Taub, right? He went for $15, and I think a lot of that is a lot of that has to do with the fact also towards the end of the draft, right? People are out of money, and it's kind of, it seems to me where the draft starts and there's a lot of inflation, and then over time naturally, but towards the end of the draft, that's when you can really get. It goes both ways. Either there are some good players that you're going to get because you outbid everyone and get them at a very good price, or some teams have held on to too much money and they're just going to throw very high amounts because you know they have nothing to lose at that point.
It's a balance.
Let's go through the over-unders, and so here we go. So what I want to do is we're going to do a little bit of a rapid-fire segment where we go through players, what they went for, and you tell me if you could do it all over again and you're the captain, do you feel like great value or you probably would have passed on that amount? Again, we're not getting on the player. We're not saying the player isn't good enough. We're just saying based off of where everybody went last night. So we'll go around the room. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's start with this. David Bloom at $63. Steve.
I think it's a fair price based on everything from last night. I think
Yehuda?
that's proper value.
Same. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, he's right in the middle where he should be.
Okay. Sammy Miller at $35. Yehuda?
It's exactly where I thought he was going to go.
Steve?
I think a little overpay.
Avi?
I thought maybe more high 20, low 30, but I think the bump to the 35 probably came from the fact that his, the last month or two he's had a couple of, he's been hitting very well and with a lot of power, which I didn't know he had until quite literally the last month or two.
So
agreed. That's what I'm going off of. Yeah, that's what I'm going off of.
By the way, the reason why I say overpay is not because of Sammy. Sammy's a great player. It's just there are so many good third basemen, and after we have three really good guys that can play third base, and after the draft, and you've seen where everyone went, you could have gotten a really good guy in the $10 to $15, $20 range even. So that's the only reason.
Steve, give us something, Steve, like who?
So we got this guy Barnathan at third base, and from what I'm hearing about him, he's an elite level glove, a solid hitter, and he's a third baseman at $15. Schlessel at $31. He's a great third baseman. He's a great hitter, and he can play multiple positions. And we got him for $31. So, and then there's other guys also. There's just two guys off the top of my head. There's a lot more than that. It happened to be.
Yeah, but 31 versus 35 is the same thing.
So here's why, according to Avi's rankings, and here's the setup. Avi had Sammy Miller ranked as the 69th best player in this draft, and he went for the 20th. His cost at 35, he was the 20th highest paid player, which is a massive discrepancy, right? We're talking about, on average, if I go look at the 69th player, the 69th player was drafted for $10. So that's a bold, according to Avi's rankings, Sammy would be considered a massive overpay. Obviously, we all love Sammy as a person, as a player. But interestingly enough, he went ahead of guys like Schlessel and Yanky Etzkowitz and Shmulga Stetner. And then Benji Horowitz. Benji Horowitz at $24 might be, in my opinion, one of the biggest steals of the night.
Yeah, Lowerger got effed with his over-under on that one. That wasn't even
Benji at $24, I think Benji is a premium player, so we'll see. Avi Krona at $22.
Well, Yossi, keep in mind, for all the captains, in the notes, Benji, this is extreme busy season for Benji Horowitz. There's a chance he only plays one, maybe two of the playing games. So it could be that was a reason why. Maybe. That was very much clear in the notes. So, yeah, again, you have to take that into account a little bit also.
So then brings us to the next. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just to Benji, there's just our thought process was when he was getting bid, we were in a weird position where there was a lot of guys on the board that we had that we wanted, and it was very early for us, and we were upset we didn't get Benji. But we had other guys targeted that we thought we can get at better pricing. Ended up it didn't really work out that way. We got who we wanted at pretty much pricing we thought we could get him at, but Benji went for probably $8 to $10 at least less than we should have bid for him. Us personally.
We had a debate on this last podcast of who would you rather take, Glenn Zuckerman or Ez Younger. Funny enough, Ez went for 24 and Glenn went for 23. So let's start with you, Steve. What are your thoughts of Glenn going for 23 while Ez went for 24?
So I think, again, you have to go look at when they went at those prices. So Glenn was very similar with us with Benji. Is that at the time when he was nominated, we had a lot of spots we had to fill, and we needed more positional. We needed more ability to take different guys at different levels, whatever. And I think he was a joke at 23. I mean, Glenn is a top 5 hitter in the league. I know obviously he's a singles hitter. He's not a singles hitter. He's a whatever he wants to do hitter. He's an elite level first baseman. Ezzy was another guy we were targeting, and we wanted to get him. Unfortunately, it was at the time when it was towards the end of the draft, and we didn't have as much money. Um, they're both similar. Like Ezzy, from a gloves perspective, is incredibly valuable. I still think Glenn is more valuable because he's elite as a hitter, and he's also a very good defensive player. Whereas Ezzy's elite.
We're losing
We're
Steve.
losing Steve. But I think what Steve is going to say is if the fielding definitely and the flexibility came uh, into the value pick there. All
But
right.
you know what, Yossi? Yossi, you know what happens there is, I think it goes really to what Steve was saying is the time of the draft. So if you draft Ezzy, so as you go later into the draft, you'll have more options. Whereas if you go and take Glenn, I think you're then, I don't want to say limited because it's the wrong word, but you're more have to like get a little pegged into what you're going to need. So as he gives you a little more flexibility on like, oh, okay, I can now take a different, I don't have to specifically take a certain position because as he can move, slide in there.
I think the word Yehuda's looking for there, Yossi, is value.
Value, yes.
No,
All
it's
right.
more
It's
flexibility.
not
It's
value.
flexibility. It's not a value.
Speaking speaking of value, we're going to do this really fast. You just have to say over, under, or fair, right? So I'll give you the player, I'll tell you what he went for, and you tell me whether he was overpaid, he was underpaid for, or the value hit. Hill Schwartz at $50. Avi Edelman.
Very fair. I think he's one of the most underrated players around. I think the A-League guys don't know him enough. I think the type of bat he has, I think he'll hit the same exact way against A-League as B-League, which means every 4 at-bats he'll hit an absolute nuke. That no matter how many guys you put in the left side of the field, it'll be very hard to stop. And every 3 at-bats will probably hit a hard ground ball or pop up.
All right, Yehuda, over, under, fair.
I think he could have gone for more.
Okay, Steve?
I honestly haven't seen him enough to say yes to no or higher or lower. Only because we guys like Rokach and Archie in that level. So I can't answer. From what I've seen so far, I'm impressed.
Okay.
I just don't know enough. That's a big price, so I don't know enough to answer that.
Steve, Mayor Gestetner at $35.
He's one of the guys we were targeting. I think it's a little high, but it's right in the range. Maybe a drop over value.
Okay. Yehuda,
Steal of the draft.
steal of the draft.
Wow.
Okay.
He's incredible. He's an elite level outfielder, and his bat is
Wow.
just his bat's picked up.
What's
He's
that take for
phenomenal.
Mayor? What do you think his real value is? 50?
Well, closer high. I think if he gets nominated earlier, he's going into the high 40s, maybe 50. Yeah.
Wow.
For
Okay.
those that know
Avi?
him, but maybe not enough people have seen him. He's tremendous.
Avi?
I think it's very fair. I'm not as big of a fan of his bat, but I do think he's an elite level outfielder, and which not many people know, I think he's borderline an elite level shortstop.
Agreed.
Okay.
That too.
Yeah, that's why we
Yeah.
were targeting him because
Let's keep
he played
going.
2 positions.
What about his uncle, Shmuel Gestetner at 29? Yehuda, overpay, underpay, fair.
Fair.
Steve?
I think a little overpay, even though he's a great hitter. But positional functionality,
Just
whatnot,
flexible in the
flexibility, yeah. As a hitter, $29, he's
Okay.
he's
Avi?
great.
Yeah, I think all the values in his bat. He gave me some. He's a very really good flack to anybody because he has the persona that he doesn't really care much. You never know, softball guys whether they do or not. But we were joking around about it yesterday. But I think all the values in his bat. I think it's a fair value. I think he's an unbelievable hitter, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that's.
Baruch Abitan at $23. Avi?
I haven't seen him enough. All I've seen him is playing an elite outfield for Amnons. Hitting wise, solid, I guess, but people say he's unbelievable. I felt bad that he showed up to the game 3 against you guys that didn't happen last night, but I don't know enough to answer that question.
Okay. Yehuda?
I'm not feeling bad for Baruch Abitan. He's got a pretty good life. If he had to show up, that's great. He lives 5 minutes away. I thought, given the other players, he could have been a couple of bucks lower. But like I said before, you've within $4 or $5 of where you should be. To me, it doesn't matter. If you want the guy, he's an excellent player. And there happens to be a lot of outfielders that went in that $15 to $25 range. It's really a matter of
So
preference.
we're okay. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Let me get Steve's take. Steve, Baruch Abitan, over under value.
I think it's good value at that price. Right where it should be.
Okay, Zvi Schonbrum. Zvi Schonbrum went for $24. He plays for
Steal.
you, Steve.
Steal. Absolute
He
steal.
went for less than steal. Okay,
Absolute
all right.
steal.
What should he have gone for?
I mean, he's an elite defensive outfielder. That's A. He's an excellent bat. He's a good base runner. He's fast. He's a great guy to play with. I mean, considering where other guys went for, he's definitely a low to mid 30s minimum. I mean, he's an elite level A outfielder.
Yehuda?
Was that a result of him getting nominated so late? I
Yes.
assume you think about
100%.
I think so.
A
Yeah,
hundred
for sure.
percent.
I think. Yeah, go ahead, Yehuda. You start.
He's better than a lot of the play. If you're asking just straight up, again, I told you I was going to be brutally honest, Yossi. He's
Yes.
better than a lot of the players that went for more money than he did. And his value is just, I don't think enough people know him. And it goes back to my argument of if I was drafting this team, and I hope nobody on this podcast gets offended, I wouldn't have paid for any of us what was paid. I'd sooner assemble a team with the likes of a Schonbrun, a Meir Gestetner, a Shmuel Gestetner, put that team together with a pitcher like Avi or Dan Braun, or you pick a Saf, Sendy Berger, and I think that's the way to go because those guys throw strikes. They're not gonna walk people, and with a very good defense and hitting around them to support it. To me, that's the way to go.
Got it. Last but not least, Avi Edelman. Overpay, underpay value on Zvi Schonbrum.
I think it's underpay. I'm a big T. Schomerman fan. I like him a lot. I think he's young, he's fast, he's a great fielder, he's a contact hitter, which is the most important thing. Hits a dart down and hard almost every single time. And most importantly, he's a fundamental hitter. He knows what he's doing at the plate, even though he's so young.
Two guys I want to highlight that went for $19 exactly. Two veterans, Yitzi Miller and Zvi Weil at 19. Let me get your. Avi's not allowed to chime in because he.
Well, I was battling out. I got outbid. I was at 18. I was right there.
Miller or Zvi?
On Sue Isle. I was right there for him. I wanted him. All the value was at 18. Once I hit 19, it was maxed out.
Steve, do you feel like Zvi and Yitzi Miller at 19 good value or fair value or overvalued?
I think both are pretty much good values at that price. Both of them. Tzvi also plays an elite first base, so he can play outfield. He's a good outfielder. He's an elite first baseman. I don't know if you guys were at the game. Javi was at the game. He made 4 or 5 tremendous plays at first for us. He's still a stick at the plate. And Yitzi's a high level outfielder, good batter, good base runner. I think both of them, based on what other guys went for, were very good values.
Okay, Yehuda, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, well, just one thought on it. Yitzi Miller, especially, like, there's not a single guy that we took from our first 5 guys where I thought they were all undervalued. Yitzi Miller, I thought so. I know he's coming back from injury. I also do think he's on my team, so he has. I think I like him. I've played with him for years, and I do think that he should feast on the pitching that is not on this podcast.
Okay, let's get to the teams. And I think the fairest thing to do is not talk about your current team and rank your current team because you might insult your captain. So I'm going to start with taking my team out of it. I think the best team on paper is Yaakov Weiss's team. They have Chesky Itzkowitz, Yankee Itzkowitz, Hillel Schwartz, Sammy Miller, Avner Scotchless, Yaakov Weiss obviously is the captain, David Weissman, Ari Slamovitz as his
I actually have all the teams in full in front of me if you want me to
and Yoni Kirshner and Josh Herman. Would you say, Avi, I'll start with you. How good of a team do you feel like this, other than your team, do you feel like this is the best team on paper at the moment?
Who's the captain? I'm pulling up.
Yaakov Weiss.
No.
It is not. Okay. So
I like Shlomo Ross's team the best.
Shlomo Ross's team. So read the players in Shlomo Ross's team.
Menachem Davidowitz, who I think is an extremely underrated shortstop. Sterling Freeman, who Steve Pollan knows very well. Ellie Konigsberg, who I think is an elite lefty who will feast off of half the pitching in the league.
Just name the players. Just name them.
Baruch Habitan, Asher Ross, Chaim Cement, Yitzi Rosen, Chaim Mintz is going to be underrated. He hasn't pitched in each in a while. Dovie Schwartz and Seth Fishman. I think that's an extremely well-rounded team. It's a deep lineup. They're great in the field, and They have the right amount of pop. I think they're a very similar team to where Yehuda Konig's team was last year.
Got it. So this is a team that decided to obviously not spend a lot on a pitcher, right? They got their
Right.
pitcher for $5, right?
Mhm.
I'll start with you, Yehuda. What are your thoughts in terms of? And I think we all agree. Obviously, it's a very well-rounded team. There's not really any holes. Thoughts early on this team being, as Avi would say, the best team other than his own team.
So I haven't seen Slomowitz pitch enough. That to me is a
That's
big
It's
factor here.
Chaim Mintz is their pitcher.
Is Chaim
No,
going to
but
pitch or Islamowitz going
well,
to pitch?
Oh, Slomowitz on the team. No, Chaim Mintz is
No,
going
no,
to
sorry.
pitch.
Chaim Mintz is on the roster. We're talking about Ross. Go ahead.
let's go again. I'm going to say again. I tend to think that Yossi, the team that you picked, which was captained by Yaakov Weiss, and he was sitting next to me last night. I thought that was the best team. My caveat is I haven't seen Slomowitz pitch enough. I don't know what level he's at. If he is a strike thrower, they're going to be very tough to beat. If he's throwing strikes and pitches at the level, is he quite is he anywhere near pitching wise like a Sendy Berger or Dan Braun? Is he where do you place him?
That's a good question. Slomowitz, he could get in his head in the Hawkeye sometimes, but most time he's not. When Slomowitz is on, he's throwing it, medium to soft. He's going inside and outside, and he's a contact pitcher. He's a step above a Mikey Weiss and a Craig Stroh, but he's even a step below me. He's a step below me and Sandiana Sapp for sure when it comes to speed.
Would you say that him and Nachum Mintz is a fair comp?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then I probably would. I think that team's good enough to win, but I will tell you, we did play when it came to the playoffs last year. Teams that have a little more trouble hitting, like our team did, extreme vent cleaning from last year. It was a breath of fresh air when we got to face B-level pitching, which something like that. We faced, I think it was Nachamins in the first round, Yossi Kaufman, and then Mikey Weiss. So the way Yossi pitched that night, all three were B-level. So we did well. No, but seriously, Yossi, other than you,
Sea level.
we did not hit all year. And then we faced Mikey Weiss in the finals and scored 12 runs or 13 runs.
Steve's back. Here's the question, Steve.
I got the question.
Do you feel so? Obviously, they're going in with a very well-rounded. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got the question. I heard everything. For some reason, whatever. Listen, I'm obviously biased because I'm a pitcher, and I think pitching is very valuable. The depth this year is much better than last year. So teams that spent big on pitchers last year were able to round out a much better team this year than last year. I don't think a team with a $5 pitcher, I don't care how good they are, they're not that much better position, catcher through the field than the teams with the high end pitchers. I think they're gonna have a tough time. Now the question is when you have the 1B considered guys like Asaf, Braun, Avi. So that's where you have the advantage, I think, because there you're not losing that much in terms of the pitching with the A pitching, the top level supposed pitching, but you also have guys that are top tier level guys. So I haven't seen those teams, but if you want to take that philosophy of maybe not spending as much on a pitcher, that's where you would go. I don't think you're going to win a championship at the end of the day playing against good teams with guys just putting the ball over the plate. It's just going to be tough. And look at last year. Last year you had Yossi and Yehuda in the finals. I mean, it is what it is,
Semifinals, but yes.
Yeah.
Semifinals.
No, you're not. I mean, the question comes down to whether, if you're Ross, do you maybe package two really, really good players like Srili Friedman and Yitzi Rosen and go for like a top pitcher? It's not a crazy. Meaning, I think that in the trade deadline, I know it's coming up, right? And
Thursday night, 8 p.m.
Thursday night. So I wonder if maybe one of these teams who don't have a top pitcher, do they say, hey, we're so well-rounded, let's maybe trade two really good players for a top pitcher? I know it's going to be interesting to see that. I think the best team actually on paper is, and I'm pulling it up, Avi, is Avrami Blisco's
I was going to say, they have a great team also.
I think is going to be a force. So I don't have every. I have like their top 8 players, and you'll
I
fill
have
out
their
the
team.
rest.
You want me to read, you
All
want me
right,
to read their
Avi.
team for the
Yeah,
guys?
just read it without the commentary. Go ahead.
Avrami Blisco, Noah Aaron and Jack Ross, Tuvia Blisco, Shmuel Gestetner, Ya Yando. Sorry, I want to comment so it. Ezzy Unger, Yaakov Zev Wacholder, Kuti Roberg, Yehuda Gorgi, I know him as Linky, and Moshe Goldgrab. That middle four, Yando, Gestetner, Jack, and Noah, that is a high level tier one A League middle of the lineup.
Yeah, and Avrami Blisco's a very good player, and as he obviously from
And
the
of
outfield.
course, I'm just saying those four are guys that hit bombs consistently.
I would say the by far the best hitting. If you're putting Shmuel Gestetner in left, and you have your outfield of Shmuel, Noah, Jack Ross, Noah Aaron, and Ez Younger as your 4 outfielders, that is probably the best 4 combination outfielders I think in this tournament. But Yehuda, what are your early thoughts?
So it's interesting because while I agree with everything you're saying, Avi and Yossi, I also do think that it's almost the exact kind of team that we played in the first round last year, which was as Younger's team, which was very well rounded. They had David Bloom, they had Ezzy, they had Jakob Weiss, very, very good team. But at the end of the day, I pitched a pretty good game. We played good defense. And like to Steve's point earlier, I think, when push comes to shove, I do think a top pitcher on his game could handle that lineup.
Interesting, Steve. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it goes back to the same thing. Yossi, let's just say going into you and Yehuda, you're gonna get maybe 2-3 runs. We're playing A division championship games, and the scores are 2-1, 3-1. I mean, notwithstanding your crazy game last game, it was still 3-2 in extra innings. And can a guy just putting the ball over the plate, as great as the team behind him, survive against a good lineup? Now these aren't like. I look at my lineup this year compared to last year, and it's just much deeper. We have 10 guys that could really hit and that could play. It's going to be tough. Listen, anything can happen, obviously, but it's very tough when you have when you're having your field have to make all 21 outs rather than your pitcher, helping along the way.
So if you were Avrami Blisco, Steve, and you got a trade request from Rafi Cohen's team, which is my team, and you got a trade request of Yossi Kaufman and Shlomo Prager for Jack Ross and Shmuel Gestetner, would you take that trade?
It's a great question.
If I'm who?
If you're Blisco, and obviously you're throwing Tuvia in on the other end because Tuvia is pitching,
Imagine
you would take that trade.
Yes, if I'm Tuvia, I would do it in a second. If I'm Rafi
if
Cohen,
you're Rami
not a
Blisco, you're giving up Ross and Gestetner, and you're getting back myself and a good outfielder in Shlomo Prager.
You wouldn't need to trade Tuvia, by the way. Tuvia could play first, catch, play second. He wouldn't need to be traded.
So you would do that trade. Avi, would you do that trade?
As the one receiving you?
Yeah, if you're Avrami Blisco, or do you think it's too much?
You and who else?
So me and Prager for Gestetner, Jack Ross, and Tuvia Blisco.
I wouldn't do it. I value Jack too much.
Okay, Yehuda Konig, you're on mute. But what is your thoughts?
I know I took myself off. It goes back to what I said before. I think I would take my chances with the other team, although I would love if getting you in. I think it's a very hard one. I think you could be successful either way, but I think at the end of the day, in a big spot, I'd rather have you. And I think that team has enough hitting elsewhere to be good where they could afford it if they were
So if
given
you're
that
to
option.
answer the question, if you're Blisco, you make the trade for the top pitcher.
I think so. I mean, honestly, maybe not for me, but maybe for you or Steve. Yeah, I think that's a good move.
Avi Edelman, did Yehuda Konig go too high at $80?
That's a great question. I think
It's okay.
No,
I'm not offended.
I think based on this past year, Yehuda deserved to obviously go a lot higher than last year. The only reason why he wouldn't is because of his injury. If you would have asked me before the draft, I would have probably had Yehuda going in the low 70s, only because of his durability in general. With the injuries coming in, and uncertainty. But I think it's not a crazy reach at all. And what happened was with Yehuda is he was going once, going twice in the mid 40s, right? I think Sam hit it going twice at like $44, and you had two captains, I think maybe three, they got into a bidding war, rightfully so, for Yehuda, has been arguably the best pitcher this past year, 2026 so far. I think it's a little higher than I thought, but I don't think it's a crazy reach at all.
Okay. Um, I think let's talk about Team 7, which is Morty Abitan's team.
Wait, 1 second, Yossi. Why aren't you
Whoa,
and Steve answering my
whoa! I
question?
want to hear Steve's opinion and yours.
Oh, all right. Yes, Steve, go ahead.
I think Yehuda went right where she go. I mean, again, if you have a guy like Yehuda, your team is you're in every game. Every game's at most you're giving up 2-3 runs unless your defense totally falls apart. He makes a lot of easy outs. So it makes your defense much better. Even if you're not elite, your defense becomes better. I listen. I overvalue pitching because I think you need to shut down teams that are really good, and you're not going to shut them down unless you have a guy that can do that. I mean, who does that? So, to me, it's no brainer. And there's
Yeah.
enough talent around to fill it out.
I think that Yehuda, if a healthy Yehuda Konig, first off, I think Yehuda was the best pitcher in the A League this year, and I think as great as Steve was, I think Yehuda's team was significantly inferior to how good the Lobos were this year, and I think, assuming that is the Yehuda Konig that we're going to see, I think he went in the 80s is where he should have gone. Um, Now, obviously, health is always a factor. Yehuda, I know he's doing physical therapy. He's working with the training staff. He's going to be ready. He's on the massage table at least 4 times a week. So, I'm confident that we're gonna get the good Yehuda in this tournament, and he'll try to run it back. My question actually, and Avi's actually not allowed to answer because we don't have time to get into this for 25 minutes. So, just for Yehuda and Steve, was Matt Rosenberg at $83? Should he have gone for more?
Yes,
Okay, Yehuda.
he's that much of a game changer. He changes every single game. It's just there's no one else like him. And with that right field fence, there's no one like him.
Yehuda, what are your thoughts?
I'm not even going to throw in a caveat. I think the fact that you could play your outfield defensively different, and you can't just you put him on the bases. He's a terror on the bases, and whatever he would have went for, I think would have been fine. You fill the team out around him. It's
I
a
mean, if
draft
you would have
Jordan and
gone for
play
a
him in
hundred
center.
dollars, you would have said, "I
I said okay.
got it." I mean, if you would have
I
went
would
for
have.
$100, you wouldn't have felt that that was an overpay.
Obviously, it's relative to everything else. Like, if everything comes down, there is a relativity factor, but I don't think if somebody would have spent an extra $5 on him or 10, I don't think it's an overpay. There's only one of him. I mean, it's
Got
not
it.
like you're
Okay.
going to get
Like
him versus a
like if
different
there was a
player.
war, if we had war in this league, I would
Yeah.
his war would probably be double any other position player, just because of what he does with the bat in that field. You can't,
Okay.
like any other great hitter, you can just lob the ball over the plate and hit a ball 300 feet and run it down. Matt, it's a pop up, it's a home run. I mean, it's a game changer every single time.
Yeah, and I know where Avi stands just by the fact that how he fell to the floor in the draft night when he got mad. So we could just kind of
I'm
move on to
constantly
that.
checking my phone to see if I get an answer. I still haven't
Oh
gotten
my
an answer.
God,
Yet.
Nebuch, like
keep
looking for
waiting.
that girlfriend to respond to you. Oh,
By the way,
Nebuch.
He's just waiting.
I know Avi's not a high price corporate attorney, but if we had any criminal attorneys, I think we should get some restraining orders in order right now.
Agreed. Let's talk about Morty Abitan's team. Some are calling it the geriatric team, with Svi Weil, Matt Siegel, and Glenn Zuckerman and Dan Braun. Obviously, speed is the first thing that comes to mind on this team. But the question is for you, Avi,
Yeah.
did they not do you feel like, is the experience going to outweigh, in your opinion, with Glenn, with Svi, with Dan, with Matt Siegel? Like, do you feel like this team is fast enough to compete compared to some of the other teams of a lot of younger players that are, very, very quick out there?
So again, I'm looking at the roster now. The way they're going to win is like you were saying. It's off experience. Their top guys are all. I know Steve doesn't think the same way I do into these type of things. Their top guys are all adequate in the field at best, in my opinion. They're all very slow. They're all older, so they're all injury prone a lot more. Every time Glenn dives for a ball, my heart drops. I feel horrible for him. It's like almost like I don't. It's whatever. But I think the way they win, the way they're going to win is experience. They're all been doing this for a billion years longer than everyone else. They know the game more than everyone else. They have a couple nice pieces, but it's besides David Bloom obviously is elite, one of the most elites. But after him, it's right. The next three guys are all older guys, and the way they're going to win is smart, staying healthy, and hoping they don't got to move too much to balls.
Nothing like telling Glenn and Svi Wild, guys who have been playing for a billion years. That'll go over well. we have to move quickly, so we'll just touch on a few others. I think actually Izzo's team. I think he was very disappointed initially walking out of the draft, but I
He
actually think he has a
was.
pretty good team.
He was.
I think Asaf at $47 might, in my opinion, might be one of the best price tags.
Steal.
I mean, 47. He went below Dan. He went
No, he
right
did. He
around
did?
where Avi went.
Dan went for
Sendi.
40. No, I think Dan went for 46. I was 45.
Dan went for 51.
Oh, you got the. Oh, you got the 2
Yeah. But he does have, obviously, his Crone, he has Archie. Ellie Weiss, based off his picture you and I were talking about, it looks like he was playing at Fenway Park on his profile picture. I don't know who Ellie Weiss is. I'm assuming.
Ellie Weiss is an unbelievable player. He was my steal that I wanted. He's an elite outfielder, and he's a very solid shortstop and a really good hitter.
And Morty J is a good player. They have a good team.
Morty J's phenomenal also. Morty J has, what's it called, esque pop. Hill Schwartz-esque pop to left field. You'll see. You will see. It's unbelievable the amount of pop he has.
Steven Yehuda, if we did this, we talked about 132 players, and you got $1 for every time Avi said the word phenomenal but a player. How many dollars would you have at the end of the
$132.
All right. Let's round out a few rapid fire questions on some of this team. On some of these, let's talk about Avi's team real quick. Steve, what are your early thoughts? So obviously, Avi's team is front loaded.
Oh.
Your audio is real bad. We're gonna talk about that.
Mute yourself.
Oof. Okay.
I'll mute him. I muted him.
Mute him.
I muted him.
Yeah, you gotta.
Who's Avi's team?
Wait,
Oof.
mute.
Still
He
bad.
keeps on unmuting himself. I'm going back. Ah! Mute. No, mute. He keeps on challenging me. Someone's got to call him and tell him that he's got to...
Okay, we'll cut that part.
Ah.
Oh my gosh. Let me call him. Hold on. Just make sure you.
You doesn't give in. Oh, it looks like he's logging out now.
Yeah, because your audio was really bad. Okay, all right. He's not live. All right, let's go real fast. 2 more minutes left. Here we go. Avi Edelman, Avi's team. Steve, you're pro the Sach. Okay, Avi, you traded Sachfelberg for. Who did you trade for?
We got Ellie Sugarman and Shlomo Wurzberger, which I don't know.
Okay, which before you get into, because I know they're both phenomenal, they're rising superstars.
Yes.
You traded. Was that with Steve's team, Zagelbaum?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Steve,
Yeah.
are you overall? What are your early thoughts on the first trade of the Twillory draft?
So that trade was done like we needed a catcher. We were holding out. We wanted to be the Sach, Yitzi Rosen, obviously, or even Ottawa. You literally killing me. And we got outbid on all those guys. And we had no choice.
You got it. I gotta kick him out. I'm gonna kick him out. I feel like I'm in a Rebbe.
Okay, no problem. Okay, all right. Let's redo the question again because Avi, I'm assuming you're going to clip this out. All right. So first trade of the season during the draft, Avi, you traded Sachfelberg, and you got which 2 players did you got? You got Sugarman and Wurzberger.
Ellie Sugarman and Shlomo Wurzberger, 2 of the elites.
Okay, great. Steve, overall, you feel good about the trade? It was your team.
Yeah. So let me tell you how it went down. We were targeting one of three catchers. I'm very particular. I'm a psycho on the mound when it comes to catchers. I need a guy who could get me the ball back, catches the balls, works with the umpires. Sach knows how to work me very well. Yitzi Rosen's phenomenal, but we got outbid. And then also, as younger, we were trying to get Asher Ross. I love. They all went for like crazy prices. So we were kind of stuck. We were talking the whole time with the guys next to us, Dovey, and they liked these 2 players. And we're like, listen, we already have those positions covered. So we just kind of we just drafted for them. We didn't know even those players. We just said we had the money. They had the need, so it ended up working out that way. So we also had Aaron Feldberg prior, so we had flexibility. We had a catcher who could play outfield. So that's kind of how it went down. It was like draft. It was like one of those drafts at the NBA draft where the guy goes up there with a hat from another team, but he's already traded. So it was like that.
Avi, I know your thoughts. You feel really great about the trade. Avi, just looking at the teams, do you feel like there's any team? Like, do you anticipate a lot of trades over the next 24 hours? Do you think there's going to be a minimum. What would you say trades over under 7 trades? What would you say?
I go over under 7 trades just for Jonas Alondra himself, because nothing more than Jonas Alondra loves than making trades. So I think Jonas Alondra will have himself over 7 trades. No, but in all seriousness, I think there'll be a couple. I don't think there'll be too many. I hope there won't be too many because I'm putting the jersey order in an hour, so there'll have to be a lot of extra jerseys I'm gonna have to order. So it's more work for me. Also, on the topic of the trade, I went high on I wanted a top level catcher, someone who again like Steve said could work an umpire, could spot for me, especially a guy like me. I need a really good catcher. It's a massive difference in my game. Suck's great. Suck's a better catcher than only Sugarman is. However, Ellie I think is a better hitter. And Shum Wartzberger I'm very high, and I was always very high on. So for me, it was a no-brainer once we had that offer.
Oh, David Weissman was the other guy we were targeting. I forgot. Yeah. David Weissman we wanted
Good
to get.
hitter.
I love him.
Yeah.
Great player.
All right, I think just final thoughts, and then we'll wrap here. Any teams that stick out to you right now that if you were that team, you'd proactively look for? Would you trade for or trade?
Yeah, if I'm Morty Abiton, I'm looking to get faster. I really am. I'm a big believer in speed. Like I said, Morty is a great team. But out to the David Bloom, really slow team. Guys who are faster are lower end. I'm looking to get faster. My team also, our first 4 picks, it was me, it was Barehanded Pfeiffer, it was Dovie Geitzels, and Matt Rosenberg, obviously. But we started off very slow, and I had a mini panic attack because people saw, on the draft board. And
Avi, if Morty Abiton offered you David Bloom and Svi Weil for Matt Rosenberg, do you make that trade?
Wow.
David Bloom
and Svi Weil for Matt Rosenberg.
No. I view it as a David. I love Svi Weil. I think he's a great player, but I have to view it as David for Matt. I can't view it as
Steve, I think you would agree that you would say that David Bloom is the second best position player in this draft.
Yes.
Well,
over Jack.
Yes. He's because shortstop is a more of a premium position than
and David could play the outfield too.
Wow. Yeah. David's tremendous.
Wow.
But him and Jack are very close.
Okay. Yehuda.
Yossi, I think your better question really goes when you look at the players you're taking like the sexy top of the draft, but I think the better question is, would you take like a Matt Siegel and an Eric Taub, or do you have Sammy Miller? The numbers kind of shake out pretty equally, and I think that's really the question to ask, because I really don't think you're going to see the top level guys get traded, even though that's probably where a team, unfortunately when you do, it's like fantasy football. You fall in love with your players, and I think that's what happens. But in reality, if you're going to make a trade, it's got to be from the top, and you're putting in two guys who are considered a little bit less, but you're not going to see, I don't think you're going to see many trades. I don't think so.
Got it. It'll be interesting.
Yes, the bigger question is does a guy trade Avi and Matt Rosenberg for you and someone else? Like that, like another, or you and I don't know who your second best player is. That's when you got to start thinking. Otherwise,
our
Matt doesn't
team
get traded.
had a very obviously, because of where I went. My captain did not draft another guy that hit over $30. Every player after that was drafted was in the 20s or less. So I'd probably say on the ranking, Svi Schonbrun is probably the next best. Is the highest rated player on Avi's rankings. So would you?
Yossi, could you read us your team?
Avi, you have it in front of you, my team?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Well, to be sent to me, it's like every single...
Izzo wanted to know if he could trade himself as a captain. That's a
great
question.
He asked me that. It's a good question. Let's see. Yahtzee, your team is led by Captain... Rafi Cohn, who claims he has a championship-winning team and the season tournament doesn't even need to happen. Rafi's
a good player.
Rafi might be the most confident captain also.
Yes.
He's not lacking for confidence.
Sheriff, Sholem Prager, Yaron Goodstein, Svi Schonbrun. Okay, now...
Goodstein's a good player.
Kiva Hoffman, phenomenal player. New to HSL. Watch out for him, I promise you. You can also pitch, Yossi. I don't have a backup pitcher. That's my issue.
By the way, Yaron also could pitch.
And Yaron, yeah.
Yaron's an excellent player.
Yossi Howell.
Good value.
Rafi Ben O'Leal, another solid player who's new to HSL. Eric Taub, Dovie Gordon, and Deutsch, I think. It's very blurry, the names. David.
No, Yossi Held, you're probably missing. Is the catcher.
Held already.
So the team is, you're not going to see any.
It's a very good team.
You're not going to see any quote unquote top superstars, so to speak, right? Because the outfield is Schonbrun, Yaron, and Prager. And then your infield is Rafi, Akiva Hoffman, Dovey Gordon. So the Eric Taub. So the question comes down to is, do you package kind of 2-for-1, so to speak? Meaning, do you package Eric Taub and Svi Schonbroom and try to get, one of the top, like a Jack Ross type of player, a top 5 outfielder? And that, I don't know. I don't know if people are going to pull the trigger on that.
No, I don't think they will. And I think your team is excellent. I think it's very well rounded. And it goes back to my argument that I started with from the beginning. I don't think you needed to go ahead and get players in the 40s or 50s. I actually think it was a mistake on our team, if I'm being fair, because I love Hillel Rokach. But I think once they overpaid for me, I think the strategy needed to be to get guys probably, the next best player should have been about 30. And Rokach is probably my favorite player in the league.
Yehuda, would you like
I
to
love the guy.
would you like to be extreme vent cleaning again for the good juju? How do I decide which one of your extreme vent cleaning teammates get to be extreme vent cleaning this year?
Talk about it. There's a lot of us. You could talk about it
what
offline.
Might be the most ADHD moment on this podcast of Avi derailing your deep thought into talking about what team, what sponsor. Oh my god!
Let's go.
Yehuda, let me ask you a better question here. I look at Blisco's team, right? They're obviously Tuvia is their pitcher. The question is
$2.
$2. Is would they say, you know what, we want to run it with Yehuda. We're going to trade straight up Jack Ross for Yehuda Konig and Tuvia Blisco. Do they make that trade?
I would if I were them. I don't think it's a good deal. And then what's Gindorf going to do?
He's going to pitch with Tuvia Blisco and Jack Ross.
It's interesting. I think it's I'm not. I have to really look at the team side by side, and I think part of the problem is I don't know the back end of our team. I really don't. I don't know any of the people, and unfortunately, every single guy that you talked about here, the third baseman, was it Hoffman or I don't remember the
Hoffman. Yeah.
I mean, every single guy. I don't know, what did he go for, Hoffman?
He went pretty high.
Around 20. Hold on, I'll tell
Yeah.
you.
He's into the draft.
$20.
Very high for someone new to the.
There was a lot of infield. By the way, there was a lot of guys that I think Avi's going to say that are really, really his version of phenomenal, but really good players that were in that $18 to $25 range.
Because a lot of them are new to the community. A lot of them.
But also guys like Zev Grunfeld, who have heard really good things. He went for 27.
He's still new to the community. There's a chance.
Morty J, 25.
That can go for 45 next year.
But Yossi, this is my argument. And I said it last night. I said it last night, and I stand by it. It's not a knock on anybody. I think if you draft your team with a top, if you spend too much on a pitcher or whatever whatever you want to call it, I think going about it the way your captain went about it is the right way, because I think there was a lot of value in that $15 to $25 range, and I don't think spending more, that the $40 to $50 range, was necessary. And especially, I don't think it was prudent.
So Yehuda, I'm gonna list a group of players that went between $19 and $24. You tell me, out of all that list, you, Steve and Avi, which player, if you could have today, you would take. And that starts with Svi Schonbroom, Ez Younger, Benji Horowitz, Aaron Scheinbein, Shlomi Zlotnick, Matt Siegel, Glenn Zuckerman, Chesky Itzkowitz, Baruch Abitan, Yitzi Rosen, Yaron Goodstein, Penny Levine, Avi Krohn, Avi Politoff, Usher Ross, Michael Reinhardt, Menachem Nyman, Menachem Davidowitz, Avi Rave, Akiva Hoffman, or Aaron Ehrlich. Out of all those guys I mentioned, who's your number one?
Can I say yes? No, I'm kidding. My number one, I don't know Chrome, but I've heard really good things. I'm a big Schonbrun fan. And there was one other guy in there that I'm not remembering that you said that you went through it. That I'm not going to ask you to repeat it.
Nyman? Benji?
Again, all 3 or 4 of those guys. Listen, we have Benji. I'm thrilled with Benji, so that's probably what I was thinking of.
What would you?
But but Yossi, I think you need to know your roster. And last year for the tournament, I didn't even know the guys on my team when I showed up. So we'll see what happens.
Steve, what are your thoughts?
You left one guy. Where did Morty Jehovah's go for?
He went for 25, so I didn't include him.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, Schonbroom to me is elite in the outfield, and Glenn's elite hitter. So I think those two are. I know them both well, so I think those two guys. But you just said it depends on your roster. Like, if I needed a first baseman late in the game and Glenn's available for $20, whatever it was, yeah, it's a no-brainer. And there's a lot of guys in there that were really good players. With the guy who plays for you, Yossi, Sunday morning, Your left fielder, left center fielder.
Zlotnick.
What's his name?
Yeah,
Zlotnick.
Zlotnick.
Slonic.
I have him.
He's an excellent player. He's an excellent player. Palatov is a great second baseman, good hitter.
I agree.
Excellent.
There's a bunch of guys there that you mentioned. I don't remember all the names, but there's a those guys can all play.
What
They're
would
all
you,
really good.
Avi,
And that, yeah.
who would you pick then out of that group if you could have any one player? What would it be? Who would it be?
Zev Grunfeld, that was my guy that I was on with Dovey.
Interestingly enough, on your rankings, Avi Palatov out of that whole. Sorry, Benji Horowitz out of that whole crew was your highest ranked, and then Chesky Yitzko.
Oh, I forgot about Benji.
Yitzi Rosen, and then Avi
Benji's great.
Palatov. So,
Zev Grunfeld is my guy that I thought we would get.
Why did you rank Zev Grunfeld in 54, and all the other guys you've ranked much higher? But that's a different conversation.
Well, because Zev's fresh. He's new. He's young blood. He's much. I don't know, newer to the community.
So Yossi,
Experience as much. But...
Let me answer your question again because I forgot Grunfeld was in there. Grunfeld was a guy we targeted from the beginning of the draft.
We also did him.
And we saved money knowing that we're spending whatever it is to get him because I feel from what I've seen so far, he's a top 3 to 4 elite level defensive shortstop. I don't know about his bat enough yet. I haven't seen his bat enough. But defensively, if I can have a guy like that at that position, we ended up, we were bidding with you and our thought process was we have $40 left. 26 was your high bid. We're like, we can outbid you guys and then take a chance to get Taub also, which you guys outbid us on Taub. But Grunfeld, for that level defense at that position, to me, that was most valuable. Although after the fact, when Benji Horowitz only went for 24, you can make a case that would have been the play.
Okay, so here, by the way, to credit Avi and David and the Twillory tournament, it's actually remarkable. Of all the guys I mentioned, all really good players, you could theoretically have drafted 10 of them for the $200 budget, and that would have been
Thank
18
you.
of 10.
Yossi, that was literally what I was going to say.
And you could get a $1 pitcher and actually have a very, very good team.
Oh,
So,
But you don't have to get a $1 pitcher,
wait.
Yossi. You would have had enough money to get a guy for 15 or 20.
Which, by the way, Yossi Levenger did. We didn't discuss his team. That's exactly what Yossi Levenger did. He got a lot of those 20 to 30 to 40 guys, and gave Craig Stroh a big hug at the end for $1. That's
yeah, I mean, Levenger, I was sitting next to him. He did not actually. I think he did not draft a player in at least the first 15 players. He had all of his money. It was an interesting strategy. Okay, let's end this off. Avi Edelman, my question to you: who is the player that's got drafted for under $20 that will by far next year be one of the top 15 highest paid players?
the two guys I was thinking of that went for just over is Zev Grunfeld and Morty Jacobowitz. You want to go under 20? 1 second.
That's fair.
Oh, 1 second. Let me go under 20. You have the
Okay,
list.
while you think about that,
Okay.
Yehuda, which player is the biggest steal of the night in your opinion?
Oh boy,
And
this is a
Steve,
tough
that
one.
question's
From the
coming straight to
low
you,
from the
so-
low dollars, I got to tell you. I mean, it's gonna sound a little crazy, but we won with him last year, and I think Chaim Pfeiffer, who can lock down the left side of the infield on either one. I think the fact that he still stayed under $10 is, and again, I want to be clear. I know it's the funniest thing because he's the quickest guy, but he's the slowest runner. He actually should be with Edelman on a team with like Glenn and those guys.
Well, he's on my team. He's on my team.
So,
He's on my team.
but I think Chaim Pfeiffer, I mean, is so, and he's literally the guy that I was thinking of that if I didn't have, let's say, Benji or Rokach, and I had a Chaim Pfeiffer and had a bunch of extra dollars to spend, I think our outfield would
$7.
be more known to me. So to me, I saw it. I said, "Wow, that's crazy." Also, one other guy that went, he was an $8 outfielder, maybe with an M.
Mark Pollan, great player.
Ari Margolis.
Yes, I thought it was very like we were in on him. Our max bid at the end was 7, and they took him from us.
I'll tell you the guy who went under 20, who I think next year could go for 40 plus. This is a bold call, but I've done a lot of research on him. He's been playing. He got sucked into it, but
Just spit him out.
he's been playing in the Thursday night. What used to be Thursday night now is Inwood Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Shire Zlimsky, our Cone League. His name is Yoni Cone. Very athletic, talented shortstop and outfielder. My team drafted him, and I think next year there's a very good chance that the $9 Yoni Cone goes for 40 plus.
Okay.
Well, Avi, if you rank him very high, like you do, what Yossi was saying that you did with the other guy with Grunfeld, of course there's a chance.
I mean, Yehuda, he ranked him 90 out of 133 players, so that screams.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Steve,
He's not no game Dover at all.
Steve, last question to you. Who do you think was the biggest steal of the night?
So I don't have all the things in front of me. there's a guy that nobody really knows except like Morty Jacobowitz. He went for like 25 bucks. I played with him in the Chaos tournament. He plays elite level defense at multiple positions. He's a great hitter. I think at the end of the season, people are going to think he's a top 15 to 18 position player. Um, and then the other case I can make is Asaf. Asaf is a high level pitcher and a great hitter, and he went for half of what we went for. So to me that's great value. So you get a guy like that who's a game changer on the mound, and he's a stick. That's a big deal.
Okay. All right. Well.
And by the way, last year, Aaron Scheinbein, my Lobo shortstop, was I think a couple dollar player, and now he's starting shortstop for a team that's playing in the championship on Monday night. So
How much did he go
these things happen.
How much did Charlotte go?
These things happen.
How much did Charlotte go for this year?
24, 25, somewhere in that
He
range.
jumped up $25. You know,
Yeah,
And you can make a case that was a very big undervalue. He's a good hitter and a great defensive shortstop.
Love it. I think, Steve, to end off, I think you said the most overrated pick was Jonas Longer at $30. That's what I heard. That was what you agreed by.
The guys, before we go off, you would love this. This is the last thing. This is the most classic Jonas Longer message. I hope he's not upset at me for saying this, but Jonas Longer messaged me. He's like, it's at 9:37. He's never up this early, so he must have been excited. He's like, 15 non-pitchers went for more than me. I'm going to take that as a compliment considering I'm no better than an average fielder. That's the message I got from you.
By the way, it's exactly correct. That was when we were bidding on when Lowinger went up. He's a very good hitter, but defensively, he's I'm not going to say he's a liability, but he's definitely not additive. So it shows you how good his bat is that he went for $30.
Correct.
I will add one thing on Yonason, if I could.
And he's a good teammate, fun guy.
So that's where I was going to go. I don't think I'm not a big Derek Cheater intangible guy, like when it comes to softball, but I do think there is something about having like a calming presence, a guy who knows the game, and a guy who just has a good way of handling things. And I think Yonason really brings that, and I think that gets overlooked. And I actually used him as an example, as I did for Morty Abitam last night. I said, there's a certain mahalech that they have that it really adds a lot to a team, and you can't get lost. Eric Taub has that, Glenn Zuckerman, Steve Pollan, you too, Yossi. Avi, depends which Avi Edelman shows up. But there's something to it about having teammates that it's really something.
Non-pitcher Avi Edelman versus the pitcher Avi Edelman. When you get the non-pitcher, you get the best.
By the way,
the non-pitcher, by the way, is like cerebral. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yitzi Rosen and Shirley Freeman are like the captains of that kind of team. Those guys are like amazing guys to play with.
It'll be fun. All right, well, guys, thanks so much for making the time.
Shirley Freeman, he couldn't come last night because it was anniversary. Give him a little slack.
Avi, great work. Who knows? The next time we do this podcast, we could all be on different teams. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting to see how the trades go.
We'll have to do a post-trade deadline podcast.
We will have to do. I mean, I'm if there's trades. I mean, there could be no trades, but if there are trades, we'll do a post-trade deadline. Yeah, absolutely. Evaluation. Who won? Who lost? And on that note, guys, have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, boys. It should be a fun tournament.